All right, nest makers, we are on day 11, and you know what? My screen is just plain ugly. I definitely made some improvements yesterday. I was showing you guys some cool things that you could do with making these rock formations and these brick formations, and I tried to do some cool stuff with the ground, but I was really running against the clock, and I ran out of time, and I'm not digging any of this. I'm digging the look of these bricks, and I'm digging the look of my rock wall, but the ground here looks bad, and I still have a lot of cool things that I want to add. Remember, I was futzing with the spikes, and I didn't like it at all yesterday. I don't have a collectible yet that I definitely want to update, and we could play around with some other things too, using what we have left over here of the sort of tiles. I tried to do some, or the palettes. I tried to do some different colors just to see what I could get, but I'm just not digging it too much. I kind of like this a little bit with the dark here, and I had to make. I tried brown, but I had to make it a dark brown because my player, his hair was light brown and his hair would disappear and stuff like that. So I'm gonna have to play with some colors, but we're gonna continue on and trying to make some cool looking stuff that looks very sort of dungeony or cave like. We're just gonna continue. This is an aesthetic week, so for those of you who are looking to do pixel art, and we're gonna add some scripts to some of this stuff, I think. But let's start with some different designs for things like flooring. One thing that we could do is we could create a border around the outside, and there's a couple different ways that we could do that. And I'm going to screw up everything that I've already done, so bear with me. I'm going to go to my pixel editor, and this is my pixel editor here. This is my canvas, if you remember. I'm going to continue working with my canvas, and I can keep it on blue if I want. That's fine. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create this sort of border. And in order to create the border, I'm going to need basically 8 tiles. And this is going to be my middle tile as a 9th tile. So, sorry, I'm going to get this. And I'm going to paste it here. That's going to be my top left corner, top right corner, bottom left corner, bottom right, or bottom left, bottom right, and then these will be like left and right. So what I'm going to do with this is if these are my this sort of highlight color, I'm going to make sort of this sort of edging like this. I'm going to try and make it somewhat symmetrical and somewhat almost rounded like this. No, I don't like that. So I'm going to keep it like that. And I think I'm going to make it go a little bit farther. And again, what I could do is I could turn on my 8 by 8 pixels to sort of gauge. So you can see like I'm leaving a space. And I'm going to leave a space on this side. And I'm going to have this go down like this. And then leave a space. And this is actually not going to be all that great because what's going to happen is this is actually my tile divide right here. But this might look interesting. Let's try this. So this is going to be my bottom. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this. I'm going to select all this, Control C, and if I go back to just my 16 by 16, Control Shift V. If I select this and hit V, I can flip that. Select this whole thing, Control C, put it over here, and I'm going to select it and hit H, flips it vertically or horizontally, and now I can take this and with that one line, I can do this, and this will look kind of interesting. I don't know. Just trying some stuff. And then I can take those. I don't know which is quicker, just to draw it or to do this. And then V. And then these are just straight cross. Nope. See, this isn't going to work because, oh, yeah. So this right here, if I look at this would be across. This would be across. I don't have one that's just down. So what I need to do is I need to imagine that it ends. I need to imagine it's this, except it doesn't curve like this, right? So it doesn't do this. It just does this. Oops. Like that. And then this comes down like this. And then the other one is the same, but the other side. Horizontal, like that. So now if I save that, if I take that stuff, and I copy it, and I go into my background tile set here, and I paste it right there. That's a lot of tiles to take up just for this sort of little bit of an effect. But let's see how that changes how this looks. I'm going to save that, go to my overworld, come back into here. And maybe I like the blue. I don't know. The blue maybe looks interesting. I can't really see it too well here, but if I come back over here, I have to just reset the graphics here. If I come back over here, now what I'm going to get is I'm going to get this sort of border around the outside, which is, you know, just a trick to that's just a little bit more interesting. Oops, wrong one. Just makes it look a little bit more. You guys have seen this kind of thing in this kind of pixel art before, probably. If you've played a lot of roguelikes or games that have sort of dungeon crawling elements to them, you've probably seen similar stuff. Um, and that's just a little bit more interesting than your basic ground. And now I could do things like I could make little areas that are unique for in some ways, like this. And if I want, I could even use this to create sort of depth. So I could do that, but then I could get my bricks and do that. And now it looks like I've got something that's a little higher, especially if I change the color of what's up there. So like if I were to do this instead, now I can really use those same tiles and sell that this is higher. This is a elevated sort of platform in here. I don't really like that, but you can see how I can, create some different things with very little. Also, I can do things like this. Um, I can create um, like a hole like this, and I can create edging for that hole. And now I think this is really where the power of it is. Is this starts to look really interesting. You know, this looks like I've got a real edge, right? Like that's better. And what I would probably want to do is I'd probably want to put something in here so I can tell that that's a hole. But I can, just the black and like that's an edge. That's a solid edge. I can tell that that's a hole of some kind. Again, it's not great, but it's a little feature. We're going to talk about how we can do some other things in here. And instead of this look, what if we tried to add tiles, like actual like floor tiles? So using the exact same setup that we have here, I could also try to do this. I could try a lighter color like that. Maybe that looks cooler. This is the same color as my character's hair, though, so I want to watch that. I could even try going completely bizarre, weird color like that. And that has a certain charm to it, too. So just know that, like, when you're dealing with an S, you can get away with being kind of weird with colors, and it still works for some reason. Dark green. I kind of almost like the lighter colors is doing something that makes it really stand out. But for right now, I'm gonna stick to let's keep it like that. Let's keep it like that. And the bricks, you know what? I don't like the green as much as I thought I would. So let's stick to like a reddish color. And also notice that like highlighting with a opposite color, so like green and red are opposite on a color wheel. Um, that has a cool look too. Like you don't always have to do three shades of the same color. You can get some cool things with value. And even like that, I'm using the dark color is green and the shadow color, and that has a cool look. So I'm just trying to play with some different things here. Um, let's make my rock wall gray, light gray, and dark gray, and then that shadow color blue, and that kind of has a cool looking rock wall. So I'm totally changing the vibe of this whole thing just by changing some colors. But if I do that, for sure these are looking weird. So let's talk about making like ground tiles instead. And we're gonna use brown, and we're gonna use this dark color for a ground tile, and we're gonna see what that looks like. So if I come into my pixel editor, I'm sort of running low on space, but I could get some more space, and I can show you some tricks on that. I could add like a Legend of Zelda style ground tile, and that would almost be like the brick, where I'd had like a highlight color and then shadow colors, or I could make it a little bit less pronounced. So I'm going to add shadow color, and I'm not going to use every pixel here. Oops, I don't want to come all the way down. I want to do this and keep a pixel. Come on, keep a pixel area like that. And it looks more pronounced here than it will. I'm going to save that. Go back to my overworld. And a lot of times you got to refresh. So I go off, come back on, and now I can use it. So I made this tile, and I could now make, this sort of looking screen. And a lot of S games have this. I think, you know, Zelda's Revenge, games like that. They have these sort of tile looks in a top-down game. Um, Very easy to do, but you can do a lot more with it too. Like you can do, um, I can go into my pixel editor, and now I can make sort of derivations of this. So I can make ones that are maybe look, whoops, like they've got some dithering to them, like they're worn a little bit or something like that, like this. So it looks like they're covered in dirt a little bit. And I can also add some that maybe have a crack, or crack tiles. And I could either use black for the cracks, or I could use the dark blue, and I'm not sure which is going to look better. And I'm going to save that, and I come back. And now I could do a combination of like all of those. And so for some of it, I could use just straight up straight up brown like this. And then I can go around and use some sort of edged tiles like this. And every once in a while, throw in a cracked one. And, now my dungeon is starting to look at least a little bit more interesting. And I'm going to throw those, and I'm going to throw some of these that are sort of worn. And then I'll throw a couple of cracked ones in there. Oops, throw a cracked one in there too. There you go. So that looks a little bit more interesting. One of the problems I've noticed with doing tiles, though, is that eventually you're going to want to put things on top of the tiles, and then it's going to end up turning into a blank tile rather than, the tiled floor, which that can look kind of weird sometimes, but let's go with that. The thing I want to show you guys is if I really want to make this look like a hole, this might still be the wall, but the thing is it continues down into the space. So I want to create this sort of depth. I'm going to go to my pixel editor. I'm going to use this. I'm going to go back to my my canvas here, and I'm going to select. Whoops! I'm going to select my bricks, paste them here. What I want to do is I'm going to paste them here, and I'm going to just darken every color, and then I'm going to dither the bottom. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to. This is going to get kind of confusing. Use black on this darkest color, blue. So I'm going to get my tile fill, not global color change, but tile fill. And everywhere I see a dark blue on this one, I'm going to change that to black. And then everywhere I see a mid-tone blue, I'm going to change it to dark blue. And then everywhere I see a light blue, I'm going to change it to the mid-tone blue. Like that. And so now I've got a darker version of that. And at the bottom of it, I want to dither up from black. So what I might even do is I might even think about this as almost half of this is black. I think half of it might be a little bit too much, but maybe half of a half. So all of this right here is in black, like that. And then I'm going to dither it coming up. So dithering, I'm going to, every other pixel, I'm going to do this with. And this is going to make it look like it kind of fades. And now that I got this light blue, I'm going to use dark blue to dither here instead of black. I'm just making it a darker shade than what it is. And the same thing is I'm going to use a dark blue here and a black one there. That should be pretty good. All right, so now I can save this. I'm sorry, I should copy this and put it in here. I save that. And I could even make one gradient between these where this changes into that. But for right now, for what we're doing, I think that's fine. I'm going to go to this sub palette right here, and I can see. Oh, now the blue is going to give me a problem though. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this, and if I make this the darkest color red or like a dark brown, like this color, this will look a little bit better. And now what I can do is this, and so now it looks like this has depth, right? It looks like this wall is going behind all this stuff, but I can tell that this is a hole. So that's just a quick and easy trick to sort of sell a little bit of depth. I need some pillars. Like I think my pillars should be in this same sub palette right here, one here and one here. So let's add some pillars real quick. I'm going to come over to my pixel editor. I'm running out of space in this tile set. So what I really want to do is I'm going to add a new tab, and I'm going to open up my next available tile set, which is here. And I'm gonna paste it into that. And I'm gonna load both of those tile sets at the same time. Here, I want to use this. It's gonna end up being red, but the idea is I want this to be sort of my main color. And so if I can imagine a pillar, it's gonna have three separate blocks. It's gonna have the top of the pillar, which I'll make like that size. I'll make this whole thing blue real quick. This is really what my pillar has to be. Yes. I need 3 tiles to make the pillar because I need a top and I need a bottom and I need a middle. And even if I don't use the whole tile for the top and the whole tile for the bottom, I still need that to be separate from the middle piece so I can make it as tall as I want. So I'll come in here and I'm going to grab my black color and I'm going to use about half of that and about half of that. Okay, and that's going to be where my my pillar comes from. I'm going to make from here to here. I'm going to make it dark blue, and let's make that symmetrical. Okay. Now, this is the top of my pillar, so this is going to be a highlight, and this is going to be the sort of front of that, and I'm going to use a black outline to sell that's the edge. And I could round it or I could square it off. And I'm going to have this come down like this. And this come down like this. And you could use black to really highlight it, or you don't have to. Down here, I'm going to use a rectangle. I need it to be a little bit bigger so that it matches, I think. And I'll do this. And I want this to be the darkest color blue here. And the darkest color blue here. But I have that black so that it separates that. And then it kind of looks like a pillar. And then what I could do is I could use the light color here to make it look like light shines on it. But I definitely want to make sure that I have a shadow underneath it, right? So a couple different ways I could add a shadow. I could use black like this, and that really sells that there's a harsh light. And that's a lot of games have that kind of pixel art. I kind of like that. And then I could add another sort of frame here like this. And then if I want to imagine that the light is coming this way, then I might dither it over here. I might dither it this way. This, and this is all about texture. So you can dither like this. You could also dither in like you could also just use lines to sell that something's getting darker and in shadow. But I'm going to dither this and we're going to see how this looks. This definitely gives it more of a texture though. Dragon Warrior got away with very limited colors and using the same trick. I always thought that was kind of cool the way that they did that. Let's say I want this to do this right here, and I want this to actually be like this. Awesome. So now I've got a pillar, and it didn't take me very long to make that. The problem is going to be, what do I want this against? Do I want it against brick, or do I want it against rock? And I think what I want it against is brick. So what I'll do is I'm going to turn on, I need to see how many pixels. I'm looking at 3 pixels on the rock. So I'm going to grab these 3 pixels, 1, 2, 3, copy that. And I'm going to do this. I'm going to just paste it here. Oops. Paste it here and here and here. So I know that now I've got the brick. And what I'm going to do, turn that off. Oops. No, keep that on. Turn this off. And I want to get rid of everything above this line. So I'm going to just look at where this line is. And I'm going to come over here. I'm going to do this. And I want to get everything. That's going to work out pretty easy. And then I'm going to copy this. And I'm not going to hold shift. I'm just going to paste it right here. And now I got the brick behind it. And the same thing with the other side. So I need 3 in. 1, 2, 3. And I'll copy that and I'll paste it here and here and here. Awesome. Turn that off. And again, I'll just look at where it's under. Use black. Come over here. Black. Use black here. Awesome. Close enough. If I missed it by a pixel, you'll see it'll be close enough because I still have to do some work. So I'm going to copy this. I'm not going to hold shift. I'm just going to paste. Control V. And now I want the shadow to match what I did here. So I'm going to use black, and what I might do is it's a little bit more recessed back here. So I want actually a little bit more of that to be black than that, because it's a little bit further back. Or you could think about it in terms of the shape of the thing, and you could say you want a little bit less of it because perspective-wise is a little bit farther back. And that might be good, but that also starts to get rid of the definition of the pillar. So instead of doing that, why don't we take the darkest color and we'll just use the darkest color there instead. And that's a good trick to sort of sell. And then here we'll do the midtone color, because right. So now we're getting that's a shadow, and we still are getting the definition. And if you want, since this side is supposed to be sort of getting the light, this side is supposed to be in shadow, darken everything except don't darken this to black, because otherwise you lose the definition like we just saw. You can, but you start to lose the definition a little bit, right? But you can, and then we'll just darken one line all the way down, and we'll go mid-tone, and we'll go dark all the way down. And again, what we're doing is we're creating this weird faux depth. And we'll do this down dark. I'm just taking the darker color and putting it out for a row. And it gives you a sense of where the light in this scene is coming from. Now again, this is not high art, but you can kind of see now I've got a kind of decent looking pillar. So I'm going to copy this. Actually, I can fit these all in the same tile set because I had 3 spaces left, if I remember right. No, I only have 2. Okay, never mind. So I do need to use this. So I'm going to use these 3. Oops. Copy. Go to my next tile set. Control Shift V. I'm going to save this. I'm going to go back to my overworld. And what I see here is I've got a tile layout that's showing me I've got a main tile set and a screen specific tile set. If I go to tile layout, I can tell it I don't want to use a main and a screen and paths. No. I want to use double main, and I do want to keep my HUD. So I'm just going to do a double main. And then I get to pick what tile set I want to be where. So tile set 1 will be that. Tile set 2 will be this new tile set. So I really have this much space I can work with while I'm preserving a HUD. Hit OK. So now I got this cool pillar that's going to line really well up with my bricks like this. The only problem is now you can see I've really got to make my walls a little bit bigger. So I'm going to come back and do this. But that doesn't work either because it looks like I actually only have half a brick there, right? So this isn't quite aesthetically what I was going for. And also it looks like I was off by a pixel on here. And you can kind of see, oops, this side looks good. This side doesn't. It's just this side, the right side. So let me come back in and raise that up. So first of all, my bad. Yep, you can actually see it. It doesn't line up. So I'm going to grab this, Control C and Control V here. And the other thing that I'm going to do, and if I just make this blue line right here, should be pretty close. Okay, the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come in, and where I had this, I only want half of this, and I want the other part, my normal ground, to make this look aesthetically right. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to put it here. And I'm going to copy, I just need, basically this, bottom of this, which is just all the mid-tone color. So if let me go over, so I'm looking at the right palette here. So the mid-tone color is the mid-tone color? No, it's the lightest color. Okay. So I just take the lightest color and I fill this with the lightest color. And I probably want to separate that with a line of black like this. Then I can put that right here. And if I want to see if I'm making sure I'm lining it up right, I'll just paste this one down here. And you can see what's happening. It's going to line up with that right there, and then this is going to be ground. So I'm going to save this. In fact, I could do exactly that. That way it's easy to see. I save this. Come back to my overworld. And now I'll be able to take this tile set and do this. But now I've got another problem. You can see what the problem is that this is supposed to be the ground color, and I don't have a palette where that's the ground color. So we get into a lot of these sort of difficult little creative puzzles. If I had a free palette, I could easily do this. I could make one that had two colors and then brown, but I don't. So how do I solve this? Lots of different ways that we could do it. First of all, we can make this go all the way up. Oops. We can make this go all the way up instead of halfway like that. And then it'll look like it comes out a full tile length. So let's try that trick. So what that would look like is this. Forget this one right here. Forget this right here. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take this and just copy it and move it all the way down. Oops. Like this, and then make the bottom of that black. And then down here, I need to do the same thing. I'm just forgetting this, and I'm going to make this go all the way up and across. And I'm making all this blue, which is fine. I'll make it like that. Making all this blue. And so the bricks are not coming and attaching to the rest of this like this. There we go. And I'll make that black. And this is probably the most sensible way to do this, because that way, what I can do, you'll see it pretty easy. So come here, come back, and now what I can do is, with this, do this. And, oh yeah, because we changed that. So if I put this back, now you can kind of see we can make that fully solid. We can make the wall go all the way against. We can use this to sort of have an edge. There we go. And we're starting to see something, you know. I mean, it definitely is starting to look like something a lot more interesting than what it did before. Unfortunately, we're almost at 30 whole minutes because I kept changing my mind to things I wanted to do. But just for context, let's take a look at what it looks like when my player is here. I'm going to make sure that I set my warp in location over here. I'm going to play. This is the aesthetic week, so we are working on just making things look kind of cooler. I know some of you guys are waiting to see more mechanics, and we will get to them. But that definitely looks way cooler than the block man I had, you know. So we're definitely getting somewhere. And what I would do is I'd obviously make that solid. Hope you guys are digging sort of some of these tutorials and some of these, you know, pixel art tricks as well. In addition to the mechanics, don't worry, we're going to get back to mechanics. I just want to spend a couple of days on doing some aesthetic stuff for those of you guys who are struggling with pixel art, making things look cool. I'm not a pixel artist at all. I've just picked up a few tricks like how to make cool things like that, how to make bricks using the same three colors look like they're descending into shadow. You guys could probably do even better than me if you work at it. So really looking forward to seeing what you guys do with these tutorials. I hope you guys are enjoying the series, and let me know in the comments, like and subscribe, share it with your friends, tell everyone that they can make NES games too. Thank you guys for hanging out. See ya.